allow me to introduce myself. My name is Humberto Gomez. I have a degree as an electromechanical engineer, and I also went to school to get a degree in management sciences. I'm a realtor. I'm a real estate investor. I'm married to a very beautiful woman that is there. And I have three handsome boys. One of them is here helping us. And I've been in real estate for 13 years, originally from Mexico myself. And I just want to get right to the point. One of the questions that we get asked all the time is what will happen. As Ryan was asking, well, will prices continue to go up, or is the market going to crash? Everybody talks about a bubble, and is it going to burst? And so what's happening? So we have two options to predicting the future. Option number one would be to hire this guy. And option number two would be to analyze what is happening with the local market, with the economy, and make your own decisions. And we're going to focus on the second option because I don't have the powers for the first one. No? So what makes home prices go up or down? There are mainly three factors. Number one, the inflation. Prices go up and everything. Then the financing available, or the supply and demand. Let's review each one how they are behaving recently. If we see in average, it's between 1.5% to 2% per year. The appreciation, the increase of the general cost of life. The last time that we have a negative inflation in Canada, it was in 1952. It was 1.4%. So it's 67 years ago. So most likely, prices will continue to go up due to inflation. Then let's review the availability for money. Nowadays, there is no bank that is turning down applications because they don't have the money to be loaned. So it's not a problem of availability. Only with 5% down, as it was previously mentioned, you can own a place, and you don't even have to have the money. There are programs such as from the region of Waterloo, when they let you the money, and you can start owning a property. Now let's take a look at the interest rates. Interest rates, as was mentioned before, they limit your purchase power, but they are still very low. As of November 9th, it was 2.8%. And right now, since about 2 years ago, they are using a stress test. Basically, if the interest rate were to go up to 5.2%, which is almost twice of what it is, then that's where the interest rate might have an impact on the purchasing power for the buyers. Now let's take a look at the supply and demand. Let's see the supply. The main supply for this area comes from resale. It's basically people that are selling their home and they're moving to another home and they're moving elsewhere. In November of this year, the resale market was showing 658 homes for sale. Usually it's 1,500 for the region of Waterloo. So there is a real big shortage right now. And this is from the MLS. The other source for supply is new construction. Last year, we had, according to the MLS, 439 new homes were sold. Just to be fair, not all the new homes are listed on the MLS. It's about 80%. The biggest builders are on the MLS, but not all of them. And And also 44%, 44 homes that were sold 2018 or prior haven't been delivered yet. So it's not that the speed, that rate that the homes are being built is high enough to overflow the market. The other thing is the change on the use of, and this applies specifically to Kitchener. Now it is easier to duplex, as they have spoken before. Now for 2020, it is expected to have the tiny homes and granny flats to be allowed. What it means is that we're going to be able to have 3 units in one property. And this, for cash flow purposes, is going to be a great opportunity. This is something that the local government is doing, trying to keep prices down to have more supply available. So conclusions, we're in a seller's market, and the supply is growing, but not fast enough to have an impact on property values. Now let's take a look at the demand. The demand is going to grow, is going to be driven by the population growth or by the shift on demographics. And what I mean by this is, for example, the young children that want to have their own place, they're going to move to a new property. Or the older people that are moving to a retirement place, that doesn't really have a big impact in the long run. So let's take a look at the first one, the population growth. We're just going to focus on this one. The population is going to grow naturally by the birth rate and the mortality rate. The difference is what's going to create the increase in population. Or in the second thing is the immigration. Let's take a look at the birth rate. In Canada, now the average is 2.1 children per woman. Basically, is barely enough to replace the people who are passing on, except for Eduardo, who has about half a dozen. He's helping the average to stay up. The weather. Okay. So according to Canada statistics, no growth is expected for the next 20 years due to birth rate. Here is the graph where it shows. The one in the dark blue is the one that shows what the increase in population is going to be based on birth rate, and the other portion is due to immigration. So let's take now a look at immigration. What is the main driver for people to move to one place to another? Is economy. People are going to wherever the jobs are because they are looking for a better life standard. And one driver for the economy is going to be universities and colleges. The reason being is because they supply the human resources that companies require for them to grow. This is the population of students. Recent population is almost 100,000 people in this area that are studying. Some of them already live here, and some of them are coming from elsewhere, and they might stay here after they finish school. Second driver, I love this one. I have a personal attachment to this one because I have been a client of them. And it's Community Tech and the Accelerator Center. These organizations are incubators for technology-based startups. Basically, what they do, they take small companies, something that is starting up, and they provide all the resources, all the knowledge, all the experience to help them become successful. Right now, they have over 700 companies that are in the process of of incubation. And these type of companies provide high-paying jobs. This is not labor jobs. This is no knowledge-based jobs, and they are more valuable. I mean, they pay more for those. This project, they work with the universities, and they have turned this area into what they call now the Canadian Silicon Valley. This is where we live now, in the Canadian Silicon Valley. Let me share with you a success story that was born in this project. It's Shopify. I don't know if you ever heard of this one, but it was founded in 2004, and it had one employee, just the founder. 2018, 3,500 employees in the area. And 85% of them have been with the company less than 3 years. So it is having an explosive growth right now. Also, we have the side effect cases because of what is happening. Google say, hey, what is happening there, and we want to be there. They came here in 2006 with 4 employees. Now they have over 600, and they are planning to increase the building that they have on Victoria and what is it, King? I don't know if you're familiar with that one. They're going to increase from 180,000 square feet to 480,000. It's going to be over 2,000 places of employment, and it's because of that. Another case would be Square. For example, Square is a company that was founded by the founder of Twitter. I don't know if you heard that. You have heard of that one. And these guys came to Canada. They were in Toronto. They said, we want to be there. That is a $20 billion company, even though they don't have that many employees still here, but they wanted to be here because of what is happening in the area. So another thing that is going to drive people to come into the area is going to be the lifestyle and convenience. The convenience of education. They want the education for their children. We already spoke about the universities, but also we have so many public libraries. We have you can take basically any course that you want living here as something that, I mean, in comparison to what you would find in Toronto. And the third thing is the proximity to Toronto. And this is very, very important. So let's see what has happened with prices, with home values. In 2009, the average price in the area was $264,000. Now is $508,000 in the same area. This is how it looks over time. So based on this, let me just go back quickly. If you see, in average, it's a 6.9% increase in price in the last 10 years. Will that continue to be the case? I don't think it's going to continue at that rate, but 4% or 3% that they mention as something feasible, a 4% would mean that the prices will increase in the next 10 years about 50%. So if you knew today, if you know that prices, that a home that is worth $400,000 now is going to be worth $600,000 in 10 years, what are you going to do about it? How are you going to take advantage of that information? And for that purpose, we would like you we like to invite you. If you haven't had a consultation yet, you can reach out to Eduardo or myself or any of us and book a personal appointment, and we can draft a plan. Even if you say, I don't have the money now, there are ways to get it. And if you don't have the money, you don't have the credit, we can set up a plan for you to work on it so you don't miss the boat.